This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning and welcome to April 7th, 2020 Whitley County Council meeting. Today we are doing something very different. We're exercising social distancing and also exercising our right by an order from the governor to do our meeting by conference, by phoning in or by being in person. So with us not all being in the room, I think it's appropriate to take an attendance so the meetings can, the meeting minutes can show or reflect who is present. So Councilman Barrett.
Here.
Councilman Wheeler.
Here.
Councilman Hodges.
Here.
Councilman Comfer.
Here.
Councilman Overdeer.
Here.
Councilman Warner.
Here.
And I am present. For those of us here, I think it's still appropriate to start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with
Liberty and justice for all.
Meeting will be a quick one. First item on the agenda is Nathan Bilger. So, let me delete the agenda here. I guess I have
it as was, so
Okay.
whatever you need to just.
First item is going to be the acceptable payments resolution that needs to be approved by the council. State Board of Accounts requires the fiscal body to authorize types of payment for the local government. We wish to take credit cards, so we need to have that authorization. The way the resolution is set up, though, it's a blanket resolution for all departments, not just planning and building specifically. The reason for credit cards, one, it's been something that's been requested by our customers for quite a few years. And then the current situation is what really has highlighted the need for it to be able to take payments remotely. We continue to do permitting, petitions, and so on. So we still have things going out, coming in and going out, and being able to take credit cards would be easier, make things easier. The vendor that we've selected, we've got everything almost ready to go. It's down to the last like 2 steps or so. So this is one of the last things that we need from the process side before we have everything set up to be able to take credit cards then. More information on the vendor, I can give it to you, but the main thing is the resolution authorizing the forms of payment.
And just to clarify, this resolution is for it can be used for the entire county, right? Because currently we have some departments set up to accept debit credit and others not. And the reason you can't right now is that is set up specifically for their department. Right?
Precisely. Here, past individual departments were given authorization, and this gives authorization for everything. It also states that electronic checks may be accepted as well, which I believe is new.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? I have a motion to approve by Hodges, a second by Barrett. Any further discussion?
Yeah, it'll be 2020-02.
I've been my motion to indicate the resolution number.
We need to get that.
Second amendment.
So I have an amended motion to approve with the attached resolution number 2020-02 and an amended second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Today's votes will be a little different as well. I'm going to call for votes you can signify by saying yea or nay. Councilman Barrett,
Yes.
Councilman Wheeler,
Yes.
Councilman Hodges,
Yay.
Councilman Overdeer,
Yeah, go.
Councilman Comfer,
Yay.
Councilman Warner,
Yay.
and I am a yea.
Okay.
And that resolution passes 7-0. Thank you.
And then the other thing on the agenda there real quick, the County Plan Commission is looking to do an update to the 2010 comprehensive plan, 2011 comprehensive plan. We still have a consultant, the commissioners at meeting in March went ahead and approved it. However, they wanted to send the amount to you guys for your blessing. The total amount is $82,000, $83,000 as a not to exceed. Because of the pandemic, the timeline has been shifted back by about a month. And so a portion of that will be coming out of the 2021 budget. And the commissioners have said that they would be paying, that most of this could be paid for, most or all of it could be paid for through the seeded budget, which are actually for 2020. And then the remainder, as I said, would be through 2021. So because it was more than the budgeted amount in seeded, they just wanted to run that by you.
So at this time, are the commissioners asking for an additional, or?
I don't believe they're asking for additional.
They just intend to budget the remainder for 2021.
Either transfer yet in 2020 or and take the remainder, the last month and a half or so that would be 2020. So how much that winds up being, don't know, because hourly rate and it's not to exceed. So we've got a couple different policies. So have a heads up, I guess, more than anything.
Yeah, I appreciate the information. Any further discussion?
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is job description updates. Personnel committee did meet within the past month, and we discussed 3 job descriptions. Just 1 minute while I look for those. Has everyone had a chance to review those job descriptions that were emailed to us from Ed?
Somebody's phone's on.
The subject line was job descriptions for meeting. It was sent on Friday the 3rd. And there were 3 attachments for job descriptions. We'll start with the first one, which was yeah, good point. So I will make note that if you're using GoToMeeting, there's a lot of background noise, and there is a feature to mute. You can click to mute the call until you're ready to speak, and that might help us stop some of the background noise. Looking at is the office administrator or civil.
Let's do that one last.
You want to do that one last?
The first one, let's do would be the VSO. That one's an easy. And VSO and the pretrial services, these all went through the personnel committee.
So I will,
Personnel committee passed the two of them, the VSO and pretrial services, with a favorable recommendation to go to council. And so, but the third one, they needed some more background on, which is the office administrator. Probably talk about that one a little bit more.
okay.
So, we don't have to sit with the changes we need to look at is right now, his work schedule states that he's Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We just want to change that to vary so that, because he's doing a lot of different things. He is going to nursing homes. He is going to like the VFW and the American Legion to try to get people signed up, because it's really, sometimes they can't actually get here. So he's been being a little bit more creative to try to help those vets. So, but with his schedule being 9-3, we kind of told him that's when he's supposed to be here. So we just want to change it to various. That's the only change to the job description, and we just need to fix, and it just needs to be a vote on the council.
My concern with this request is that not all veterans are at the VFW or the Legion, not all veterans are in the nursing home, and you've got a whole new generation of veterans who are operational at active freedom and enduring freedom who don't frequent those locations. And I do have concern with our veteran service officers' availability to all veterans. And so that would be my chief concern, my largest concern is if those hours vary and there's no posted office hours, then how does a veteran seek him out?
They have the phone number up there, and then if anybody calls, then Cindy takes those calls and schedules his appointments, and he can schedule office hours. It's just if his schedule's not full, then he tries to put those out. But they are scheduling people still come here. It's not he just have. And Cindy's usually here on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the mornings. So and with that, he is here. I mean, a lot of days as well. So
Great.
So they don't specify the office hours. I mean, he is here though at those different times. And
Sure.
so.
Any other discussion on this request?
This is going to create more traveling for him.
Not necessarily. We're just trying to specify and to open it up so that we're not limiting to what he's doing. That's the only change we're trying to.
I'm having a very difficult time understanding you.
Usually, but since it states that
You gotta wait till he's not talking.
hours and that's his hours only, we've been limiting him to what he can do. So.
I make a
Chad,
motion.
we're here.
Go ahead, Barb.
We're hearing a lot of squeaking in. Lori was here yesterday and thought maybe somebody had their phone on it up there too.
No one in the room is on GoToMeeting except for the computer. So I'm not. Is it like an echo? Are you hearing an echo?
No, we're hearing like a chirping sound.
Well, and it's just, it's hard time understanding you because it's just not coming through clear. That might be our unit or it might be yours, but it's not coming through clearly.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know if it would help if you talk a little slower. If it's the going back and forth, that's kind of muffling together. When you said the pledge, we had a hard time keeping up with you.
I did notice yesterday on our tests meeting, there was a significant delay on my end. So
Yeah.
they could be experiencing a delay.
Okay, we'll see if it gets better.
We'll just slow it down. We'll just slow everything down. So moving on.
I made a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the request to change the veteran service officers' hours from 9 to 3.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Fridays.
To vary.
And I also have a second A motion from Bilger, second from Barrett. The three of these together.
That's fine, we'll move on.
If we can hold.
The second one is for pre-trial services. This is a grant job, and we need to send it to WIS to be factored. Now, they did, when writing the grant, they called me and asked me to put somewhat of a pay range that they could use to do that we felt we would be comfortable at, that it would be higher than what we probably thought it would come in at. So that's what they wrote the grant for, but I still need to send it to WIS to be factored so that we know exactly what the pay range is going to be for this job going forward. So, one of the questions that came up in the personnel committee meeting was that we're basically voting this job to be factored as a grant. If they decide it later on, it would go forward to be a job full-time with the county, then it would still have to go before the county. Okay. So that is, that's the two that the personnel committee passed with a favorable rating.
Okay.
The third one is an office administrator for the Superior Court. It's an office administrator for civil court reporter. I talked to the judge in depth about this. I feel very comfortable with this. His workload went from basically 1 day to 3 days, and he just doesn't have the time to keep up with what's going on in his office as far as scheduling time off and dealing with issues that come up in his office. I mean, he's busy in court, and he's on different committees, and he has different meetings with community corrections and a lot, and he's just doesn't have the time anymore to run his office. So he really needs an office administrator to overlook that. He is shifting some of the court reporter's duties that she has. She's kind of also a fill-in for answering the phone and doing some of those other things. She can take some of that time off of her hands. They have another person in that office that can kind of take on some of those duties to let her have time to do this. And then on the flip side, they also need, they've got Odyssey, and there's some backlog in Odyssey. And one of the jobs that they want this person to do is to keep track of what files are in Odyssey and try to find out where the bottlenecks are and make sure that they're getting processed through. So that's kind of a bigger chunk of it. So not only supervisor duties, but also keeping Odyssey up. So that was when we went to the personnel committee meeting, there was a little bit of misunderstanding on what those duties would be, and we answered those questions at that time, and that's why it's before council now. So I just need this to be passed on, to go to WIS, to be factored. Whether this job is taken on by anybody in the office, he's not sure. I mean, he's hoping that's what they would do, but he just needs to get it factored. This is the first step, to get it factored to see where the pay range is going to be, and then make sure that he can come to you guys and get it passed at that time. So, question.
Any questions for Ed?
A little bit of clarification. We're approving the position, we're just approving it to be factored to.
That is correct. You're approving to have it sent to WIS to be factored to see. And then once we have the job description factored and we know what the pay range is going to be, the judge will have to come in and present and talk to you to get it approved at that point. So we're just looking for a day to get it sent to WIS and pay the money to WIS to have it factored.
Any other discussion? So backing up, I do have a motion on the floor from Councilman Bilger to approve the amendment to the Veteran Service Officer's job description, seconded by Barrett, I'm going to go ahead and call for a vote on that motion. So starting with Councilman Barrett,
Yes.
Councilman Wheeler,
Yes.
Councilman Hodges,
Yeah.
Councilman Overdeer,
Yes.
Councilman Warner,
Yes.
Councilman Comfer.
Yes.
It doesn't want to hurt anything.
Yes. So now I will entertain a motion to approve the request to send those two job descriptions, those two additional job descriptions to WIS for factoring.
I'll make a motion.
Councilman Hodges beat you to it if you'd like to
Okay.
second.
I'll second it.
Okay, so I've got a motion from Hodges, second from Warner to approve those going to WIS. I'll call for a vote. Councilman Barrett,
Yes.
Councilman Wheeler,
Yes.
Councilman Hodges,
Yay.
Councilman Overdeer,
Yes.
Councilman Comfer,
Yes.
You got it.
Councilman Warner,
Yes.
and I am a yes. So that did prove you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Doesn't hurt anything.
I know that's true.
So another item on our agenda is some adjustments to our meeting schedule. Tiffany, if you want to speak to that, you'd be more than welcome to.
Okay, it's obviously, we have a change on our election day. So we have the option of changing that back from the Wednesday to the Tuesday for May 6th. You don't have to change that if you don't want to. It's just kind of back to your normal day and time. And then we obviously need to move the June meeting because now that falls on the, as of right now, set date for the primary. So we can move that to that Wednesday, the day after. We just need basically you guys to say if you want May to stay Wednesday, want to start back Tuesday, and also do your Wednesday meeting for June.
And that would be the 3rd.
Yes.
My understanding that we also need to change the county May to that day in April, and all in one motion here.
Yes, the commissioners.
Also, correct?
Yes. Do you guys approve holiday? I thought Janice said that's commissioners.
Do we approve holiday, or is that the commissioners who approve holidays?
We approved holiday schedule.
We do. You're right, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Well,
Asked
maybe we
Janet,
approved.
you guys said it was commissioners that approved the holiday.
Leave it to commissioners. Except the holidays.
Yeah, I think
For the
we
year.
approved it. I think we approved.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So would council like to change the May 6th meeting to May 5th? That would be a Tuesday. And in the same breath, would council like to move our June 2nd meeting to June 3rd, knowing that June 2nd is our new scheduled election day?
Motion to approve both days. First one back to our original meeting Tuesday, and the second to the Wednesday after election day.
So I have a motion from Councilman Hodges to move both the May and June meetings. So our new,
Second it.
we've got a second from, is that Overdeer? So I've got a motion and a second. The new dates would be May 5th and June 3rd. Any further discussion? Councilman Barrett,
Yes.
Councilman Wheeler,
Yes.
Councilman Hodges,
Yay.
Councilman Comfort,
Yay.
Councilman Warner,
Yes.
Councilman Overdeer,
Yes.
and Councilman Banks is a yes. Before we move on to the commissioner report, I do want to just have a discussion about how council would like to move forward. I've heard from a few councilmen about a potential budget crisis with the property taxes being extended and the only property taxes being paid for sure right now are those that were escrowed and they are scheduled to be paid on time. Other than that, if you're not escrowed, which is probably about 40%, those are extended for at least 60 days. And so I thought maybe we could just have a discussion about how we want to be proactively planning with knowing that there could be a shortfall in the budget that maybe we could make up in a rainy day fund, or maybe it will catch up and folks will maybe use their stimulus money to pay their property taxes. Who knows? But I thought we would just have a discussion about how council would like to consider moving forward, not making any decisions, or maybe making decisions today, but at least opening the door for the discussion.
Can we change the date, or does it done by the state?
About what the short-term,
There's been pretty minimal communication with that right now.
is that what they get paid to do?
Councilman Overdeer, you started to say something and we missed it.
Sorry about that, but can we arbitrarily change the date when they're due? Or does that have to be done by the state?
Well, we didn't change the date they were due.
No, but could we?
Find an executive order that allowed an extension of 60 days, assuming that you're not escrowed.
Yeah.
I thought that we cannot predict what happen in a couple months, and I'm of the opinion at least now we stay the course, business as usual, but keeping an eye on it and potentially consider maybe a hiring freeze or something, or maybe we decide in our May meeting that we need to cap expenses or purchases at a certain expense. So these are just all things to maybe consider. Maybe we can be thinking about it and bring it back to the May meeting. Does that sit well with everyone?
I agree with you, Mr. Chairman. I would also just suggest that we admonish all of our department heads to be very conservative in their spending. Just because it's budgeted doesn't mean it needs to be spent at this point in time.
Have that conversation with the department heads. And when we have our commissioner report, maybe we could get some in the commissioner, and maybe the commissioners will come alongside us.
Through the budgetary cycle that's in the department head hands to spend and go forward with projects. But I think any major project that's planned right now, we need to evaluate on whether it's absolutely necessary. Is it an emergency? And maybe put a freeze on spending funds until we get a point to where we exactly how this affects the county budget. So also be in favor of discussion, the freeze on any major expenditures, a certain amount, without that council first. Resources that we have in.
Noise. That's what noise you're hearing.
And with that, we know that the health department, we know that there are departments that are going to need additional appropriations. We might have to rework how we spend our money.
Guys, yeah. I think everyone here, Councilman Hodges. Commissioners, thought to this discussion, have you all considered the possible impact of our budget?
Yes, we have. Really, looking at right now is the main concern is on any of the safety tax, public safety tax, anything that's a tax is one that's going to be very, that would be impacted, but the impact won't be known until probably the end of the year before we see anything. The other one with the gas taxes aren't changing, but people just aren't using gas like they have, and so the highway department is going to be limited, and I've seen anywhere between 40 gas tax revenues that they're getting there. So, that's going to be a big, that's our major concern right now. At this point, in fact, we're listening to the other counties, we're listening to states, trying to find out and
Has someone got a phone in their car? I keep it, what sounds like road noise. And it's really bad.
Yeah, we're not sure what that is. George is in the room now, and he explained that when he was logged in to go to meeting, that it was coming in and out, and it was pretty broken. Yeah. Go ahead, George.
Yeah. Okay, well, what I was explaining before was that actually the two taxes we have to worry about are any LOAT tax, anything to do with Cadget, CEDIT, the public safety tax, the jail tax. Those are the main issues that we'll have, and we're looking at the issues will be at the end of the year. We won't really see the worst part of it until probably spring of 2021. And then also the gas tax will be an issue, and that we'll see that right away. I think that with nobody being on the roads, it's going to be a huge issue for us. And again, that's going to be anywhere between 40 and 60% of our gas tax income. So we're really going to have to be very careful in those areas.
I think it would be responsible to the taxpayer at this point that we put some sort of a limit on major expenditures, whether they've already been approved for this year's budget or otherwise, and have them vetted on an individual basis to move forward on something that endangers the public safety or that doesn't absolutely have to be moved on without additional approval from the council.
Anyone else? I'm afraid that some of them can't hear you.
I don't know that that's in this room. I think it's not in.
Right.
I would council to consider putting a freeze on all refactoring. Just have it at this point in time, everybody just stays put. We're not gonna refactor anybody until we know what's gonna happen. Sure, I think that would be a good idea to do myself, so. That way I can talk to him and tell him that at this point in time, we're just not gonna send any more down.
Well, that's a direct reflection too, of not really needing to get together for a meeting with personnel committee, because that's not emergency business. I agree with that statement as far as a personnel committee, we don't need to be vetting this request at this time. It's a meeting we don't need to have.
Councilman Hodges, I'm going to ask you to make a recommendation in the form of a motion as far as vetting out is putting a cap on spending.
My motion would be that we notify, obviously, all department heads that we would, at this time, say, on it. Maintenance items that would be over an amount of $10,000 unless they would be otherwise vetted through council for the approval to move ahead with that. And I would also make part of my motion that there be a hiring and wage freeze at this point unless it is vetted again through council. So we're not going to say no to it necessarily, but it needs to be something we have a little tighter control over until we see exactly, I think, what this is going to mean at the end of it.
Well, I think it helps you lay eyes on it, like get eyes on it and really focus in on what those expenses are. So I do have a motion from Councilman Hodges.
I'll second it.
I have a second, Councilman Wheeler. Any further discussion?
I would like to say that one thing that we're going to have to be cognizant of is that the court systems are pretty well shut down right now. And for the summer, they're going to be just slammed. And I don't know if they're going to need additional people or what, but I think that's something we're going to need to be aware of, that the judges know that they're going to, what they're not doing now, they're going to have to do in the summer.
Sure. And I think it's fair that they come back when they know the need is great. I saw the jail population is significantly down. I know with the changes at the community corrections, their population's like.
But that population still is going to go through the court system. And that's the difficulty, because what they're doing is they're just pushing things back. And it's going to be.
They'll be overwhelmed later.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. But I'm just asking that you be aware of that, because they will be coming. I'm sure they'll be coming back for help.
Yep, I agree.
Mr. Hodges, would you consider an amendment to sunset this every 30 days so that we have to readdress it at each meeting?
No, I think that with the motion I made, the addressing it will come with the fact of people bringing exceptions to us that needed to be vetted and approved by us at each monthly meeting. And we just let it go at an indeterminate amount of time until we get under control with our budget, and then we could change that back at that point.
I have a question from Scott Wagner, Health Department. I'm going to recognize him.
I would like that when we sign the contract, have a major trailer built, might be taking delivery of that before that 30 days is up, before their next meeting. I the budget. I just want to make sure you're aware of that. If you want to talk about that now, so it'll be before the next meeting.
Sure. Yeah. We have a lot that have been approved and that we've moved forward with.
Contracted, that'll be a. Of that.
28,000.
Jersey, seated.
Seated.
Yeah.
And we're fully funded in the CETA fund right now. We're right at 900, I think is what we've got.
So that wouldn't be a big impact to you.
I just want to make sure you're aware of that, that might be a purchase that'll be coming through the auditor's office in the next 30 to 40 days.
I'm okay with it.
I am too.
I just received a text message from Mark Sturdivant, which says, most of the maintenance projects council approved have signed contracts to be done. I'm not sure, I know you're listening, send me another text message. When you say most of the maintenance projects, what's the date that the work's supposed to begin on, and what's it mean by most? How does that affect what we're talking about, I guess, too?
I think he's probably worried about, right now, they're working on the courthouse generator. That's one project that is a major project.
That's something that's obviously being worked on, the work has started on, and I don't think that my motion or what my idea is, as far as my motion, doesn't pertain.
I think we'll have a whole list of items that come up that have been approved, that need payment. Department heads are going to be needing to move forward. And I fear that by doing this, then council will have to meet maybe more often so that we can keep business running. I also recognize the need for it. I'll be voting in favor of it. I do have a motion from Councilman Hodges and a second from Councilman Wheeler.
It looks like I leave a message right now from Mark in response to what I said. So generator, building repairs, both annex and courthouse, including sidewalks. Work is supposed to have started. The work that's started now, obviously it started, we need to continue with. I would tell you, Mark, that anything that is not started, then you need to make a submission to us that we either be addressed at next month's meeting or at an emergency meeting if that would be deemed necessary. Problems on that. Do you see any fault in doing it that way?
No, I do know that the annex has already started, and also, and they're going right from the annex to the courthouse after they deal with that.
As far as the concrete work? The backside of that job there is going to be a direct reflection on the economy as a whole. And this company is expecting to be able to continue to have their employees working also. So I don't think that we need to react to the point where the sky is falling, but we do need to be responsible to the taxpayer, to the citizens of Whitley County, to make sure that we're spending their tax dollars wisely at this juncture. So I would say that something that has already started or that has a signed contract to start, we don't want to come out of that. But anything that doesn't have a signed contract or that isn't scheduled to move forward in the projects that we need to put on hold at this point. And this is what that motion is intended to do.
Any further discussion? Councilman Barrett.
Yes.
Councilman Wheeler.
Yes.
Councilman Hodges.
Yes.
Councilman Comfer.
Yes.
Councilman Ward.
Yes.
Councilman Overdeer.
Yes.
Councilman says yes. Commissioner report.
Okay, I really don't have a lot to report right now. Commissioners, for the first 2 weeks, we're meeting daily at 9 o'clock with the health department and EMA. We were trying to determine, which direction we had to go. We did come up with some projects or some policies that we had, and it was a daily change from the state and federal. But I think we've come up with some good policies right now, and we're really depending on our department heads to tell us who their essential people are and what they need to do. So we've asked them to provide us with plans. I think we've made sure that you guys have received the plans for each one of the departments. So we just want everybody to be aware of what the plans are for each department, how we're going to handle it. We are not at this time going to shut the county government down, because there are a lot of essential services that we need. And our main concern is making sure that the health and welfare of our employees, and by shutting down all the facilities, I think that we've done we've done a good job on that. We've kept ahead of everything, and we're just we're trying to plan for this month right now. We're hoping that after this month that things will open up, but it's constantly changing. We've been fortunate that Scott's worked with us and Amy's done a great job. The two of them have been invaluable to us. Just they're doing a great job. And Dan with EMA also. Dan's doing a great job. We just very fortunate.
Totally agree.
Don Amber, may I break in?
You may.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to mention you were going back to funding. I think our best bet. I've been studying this. I think our best bet is to stay with the Indiana Bond Bank. I believe they're the ones that's going to be able to help us if we need an advance draw or anything. I think their rates are probably the best. So Indiana Bond Bank would be my suggestion should we need to get some money ahead of the time the property tax money comes in.
Thanks, Don. Anything else, George?
That's all I had.
Just to follow up on what you said, I want to compliment the department heads and the elected officials for stepping up and putting these plans in place.
They've done a great job. The court system too. We've pretty well, we've taken the people that were in the work release system, and the ones that were actually just about ready to go, their sentences were shortened a little bit, but the rest of them are under home detention. They're still being monitored. So just want to assure everyone that we aren't just throwing people out on the streets right now, but the judges have been doing a great job, and we're just not getting the people. People are staying home right now, so there's not a lot of issues as far as people stealing or anything like that. The biggest issue that we've got right now are domestic abuse issues, and we're dealing with a lot of those.
Thank you, George and Don. The next item on the agenda is minutes. This would be our March 3rd meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as written.
I have a motion to approve as written. Do I have a second?
Yes.
I have a motion and a second. Councilman Barrett?
Yes.
Councilman Wheeler?
Yes.
Councilman Hodges? Councilman Overdeer?
Yes.
Councilman Comfer?
Yes.
Councilman Warner?
Yes.
And I am also a yes. Will the people who called in or joined the meeting remotely need to come in to sign?
I can bring it next meeting.
You'll just bring it to the next meeting?
No special trips needed.
Does anyone from the public have anything to add?
I would like to hear from Scott, any upgrades, updates, anything like that.
We still have that.
So the health department, we have 8 positive cases right now. We had 1 death unfortunately, and continue to monitor that. I think that the state's predicting next week to be the worst week for us. We're already starting to see a little bit of a slowdown trend. They are going to increase the number of testing available. Now that it's almost seems that it's slowing down, now the tests are available. So I know the parking system is going to be actually doing more testing this next 2 weeks. So we may see an increase in numbers, but that may not mean that there's an increase in infectious rate. I think your larger cities like New York, Chicago, they're going to continue to see that simply because they have more population for that virus to go through before it's finalized. But for Indiana, I'd say it's in every community. It's almost been documented in every county now. I think the most people I've been talking to that are at home that have been hospitalized, they are having a rough time with it. It is a serious illness for them. And I do encourage anybody over the age of 65, especially with underlying health conditions, they just need to stay home. Contact somebody else that they could get their groceries or medicine from. We do not want to see you out in public. Anything else, sir?
Thank you.
Anything else? I'll adjourn the meeting.
Excellent job.
Everybody stay safe.